Good evening and welcome. It's Friday, it's 8 o'clock, and that means it's time for Buster's Virtual Jazz Club. Yes, we are live, it's happening now, going out around the world to infinity and beyond. That is, of course, unless you're watching the recording of the rerun, in which case you're seeing a video. So, yes, I hope you had a great week, and I hope everybody's keeping well. We're getting through this year, aren't we? It's December now already, and absolutely amazing to think of that. So, if anyone's out there, do pop a little hello in the chat box. That's always nice to see. It's nice to know there's somebody listening. And so on with the show. Before I introduce my guest, I'd like to say a special thank you to all my regular Patreon subscribers, and also to everyone who makes a donation on PayPal. It really means a lot and goes a long way, especially at the moment. And do please check out also the Facebook page and the website. We've got some great upcoming guests. We'll be on for the next 2 weeks, and then I'm going to take the Christmas Day is a Friday, so I may or may not do a very informal brief appearance. It depends how drunk I am, but I won't be broadcasting on January the 1st, but then I'll be back on January the 8th after that, and I've got a couple of great guests lined up for January already, so looking forward to that. So hello from Fran. Hi Fran, how are you doing? Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. So my guest this evening was born in Hamilton, Ontario in Canada. He studied guitar at the University of Toronto with Eli Kastner and performed in the University Big Band directed by Philip Nimmons. He graduated in 1982 and performed at the Havana Guitar Festival in Cuba. He won a scholarship to study further in Spain. He settled in the UK, concentrating on writing original music, including music for a version of the opera Carmen, which was performed at the Newcastle Playhouse. He co-founded the group Artum, which was a regular performer at the Glasgow and Edinburgh Jazz Festivals. He has toured and recorded with Carol Kidd, Michael Garrett, Julian Mark Stringle, Digby Fairweather's Half Dozen, George Melly and Paul Jones. In 2006, he was awarded the Jazz Guitarist of the Year at the Birmingham Jazz Awards. He's now based in Greenwich in South London and teaches guitar, where he's a professor at the Trinity Laban Conservatoire of Music. He cites his musical inspirations as Johann Sebastian Bach, Duke Ellington, Charlie Parker, Paco de Lucia and George Benson. Not a bad little set there. And I'm very pleased to say he's here with us now, live on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the very wonderful Mr. Dominic Ashworth. Hello, mate. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. Thank you, Buster. Thanks for inviting me along.
Well, thanks for joining us, and thanks for giving up your evening and sharing your time and your music with us. So it's great to have you on the show. I've been, definitely somebody I wanted to get on, and he's a wonderful musician. I've been fortunate to play a few things with you on a few occasions, and I think absolutely great. I love the music that you make, and it's very varied, and I'm looking forward to playing some of your records. So, but before we get into it, I always like to ask, what have you been up to this year? It's a funny old year, hasn't it? And I know you're like many of us, you like to keep yourself busy. And I know you do a lot of recording and in your home studio there, and do a lot of writing. I would imagine you've been kind of beavering away at that with the lack of gigs we've had. Is that something you've been keep yourself busy with?
Yes. I've been trying to keep busy, keep myself sort of with some sort of sense of routine, and playing, practicing every day, and writing and teaching. So
have you been Zoom teaching?
Zoom teaching, yes, carrying on with that, right. Living the La Vida virtual, like everybody. Yeah. So
Have you been into college at all? Because I know some of them have been back doing a bit of teaching, haven't they?
I've been in 3 times to Trinity so far since September, and but most of the students seem happy to do Zooms anyway at current time. So I'm happy with that. And at least there's a lot less travel going on, isn't there? So it's,
Yeah, well, we're all saving on petrol, aren't we? That's the one
yes,
good thing. Yeah.
yes. No, I've been enjoying that, and just I'm lucky to have a studio I can make noise whenever I want at any time. So yeah, I've just sort of been holed away in my little man cave and making music in here and teaching, and yeah.
Great. And we've got a few hellos here. Liz Norton says, hello, lovely Dominic.
Oh,
and
lovely. Hello,
Steve Clark,
Liz.
and he's just tucking into a very nice bottle of wine as usual. Travis is tuning in live all the way from Albuquerque. And,
Wow,
and so,
Albuquerque.
yeah, we're reaching far and wide now. Hello, Mary, and hello, Real Sonic. Hi, everybody. So, welcome. Nice to see you all on here. It's great,
amazing.
isn't it?
Albuquerque. I always think of, there's a thing, it said, some cartoon where it says, you took a wrong turn at Albuquerque. I don't know. But
Perhaps Travis could let us know.
yeah, let me know where that comes from. Bugs Bunny or something. Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. It still blows my mind. I mean, I'm old enough to remember before the internet, and so it still completely blows my mind, the power we have to connect and make friends and reach people around the world. I think that is the one really good thing that's come out of this year, is that we've all kind of made these connections, and everybody's been maybe forced to sort of use this technology where we may have otherwise kind of put it off. I know myself, we get busy, don't we? And I wouldn't have dreamed I would have been doing something like this, a year ago. So
Exactly. I mean, I've been doing, learning how to use Logic, which I had on my computer, but I've been sort of forced to use now. And one of the things I've been doing is doing music every week for a play reading. So there's this writer, Andrew Cartmel, and he does a Thursday theatre. In fact, anyone's welcome to watch. And so he's quite prolific, and I do intro and outro music for it. And it's funny because you think that the Zoom wouldn't allow for any sort of magic or kind of actors gelling, but actually sometimes it's really great. You get
so they're all on separate Zoom things, and they're reading they're performing a script or a play or something.
Exactly.
Like that. Wow.
Exactly.
And what's the link on that? Do you know the website? So in case people want to check that out.
Well, his name is Andrew Cartmel. If you looked him up, he's an author, and you'll be able to find it on that.
I'll tell you what. I'll put it down below, folks. So it might not be there now, but by the time the video goes up, I'll put the link in. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, and I mean we did we put our summer school online, didn't we, in August, which worked out. It's not quite the same, but it's amazing what you can still do, isn't it? And of course, the power to reach people who wouldn't otherwise be able to come has been a great thing that we've discovered this year, isn't it? Travis says that Albuquerque is awesome, and I'm sure it is. Travis, maybe one day we'll get there.
I'd love to make it, yeah.
Yeah, IRL, in real life, maybe one day.
Yes, please. No, I mean, jazz is, the internet is fantastic, obviously, and it's great. Everything's there for you. I suppose the one thing is you do feel jazz in particular benefits from the vibe in the room, whatever that is. And that's the thing that we're missing, is that kind of
course, yeah.
We want to get back to that kind of connection. When
I've got something coming up with Alison's band, and we're going to play actually in a couple of weeks' time, and we had one rehearsal that month ago, and it was literally the first time I played with anyone, and that first tune I felt quite emotional. I got to be honest. It just that thing of play, it's just not the same, is it? Sitting at home,
it's amazing,
practicing,
isn't it? Yeah.
It's really weird. Yeah, it's really weird how much it does affect you. And so I'm looking forward to that, and I'm sure we're all looking forward. Well, the vaccine's coming. I'm sure we'll all be back to normal before we know it, and all moaning about things again that we that we've been missing.
Exactly.
But not us. We'll be glad. So Andrew's on. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Peter from Folkestone is in. And, of course, my good friends Sue Ringrose and Pete Ringrose.
Oh, right. Yeah. Great. Hi, guys.
Wonderful. Well, look, I think let's play something. So we've got a few tracks, but we've also got a couple of videos. And the first one I want to play is a real feature, and it's a duet with yourself and Julia Mark Stringle on clarinet, playing the wonderful Rhapsody in Blue, which is the Gershwin big orchestral number. And I've seen you. I know you guys do this because you work together a lot, don't you? Julian's a very close chum of yours, isn't he? A musical sparring partner and somebody you've played with a lot. You've got a very close connection with. And I've seen you guys. You do this live, don't you? And this is a YouTube video. It's like a promo video. Is it something you put together for YouTube?
Yes, Julian's dad recorded us and let you in on a secret. It was incredibly hot. It was a summer's day, right. And the person we were staying with the night before had decided to get the whiskey out. So both of us are looking a bit sort of like, oh my God. Yeah. You don't want to film us today, do you?
Bit of Vaseline on the lens required. Yeah.
Oh dear, yeah. But anyway, it was great fun. Yeah.
But I was just going to ask about playing a piece like this. It's incredibly challenging because it's, technically challenging. It's a long piece of music, right? To do, and it's the sort of thing, like more of a kind of classical. Musicians would do where they do a whole concerto or a whole piece and they feature, and the concentration must be enormous. But also, it's just you and him, isn't it? He's doing all the playing, yeah. But you're doing everything. It's like you're playing the whole orchestra on the guitar. How long did it take you to get this together, this piece?
It took a little while. The story is that I used to work with Carol Kidd, this fantastic Scottish singer, and she had a gig, I think it was Bournemouth, and we were part of a concert with Larry Adler, the harmonica player.
Oh, great, yeah.
Who's fantastic. And his showpiece was...
Right.
Rhapsody in Blue. So guess who nicked it from? Yeah. So I was listening to it and I thought, if he can do that on, but the thing, he was fantastic, and he actually he played tennis with Gershwin.
I know, it's nuts, isn't it?
What? And so he's talking about, I knew him and everything. So it was great to have met him. And then I thought, well, it actually fits the guitar quite well, the key. I didn't have to change the key. I chopped out a lot of the difficult bits.
Right.
I did kind of condense it, as he did as well. So
you can't do the whole thing, can you? It's got because ultimately it's got to work in the context of the environment it's in, isn't it? And that's the skill and art of doing an arrangement, isn't it? You have to arrange it for duo. So you take the piece and then you make it work for that. And there's a whole art to that, isn't there?
Yeah, I was just trying to grab everything I could, harmonically and any kind of counterpoint. But the second theme, da 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 da, that one is in E major. So it's Anyway, so that wasn't in E, but it fits the guitar beautifully. So that was just coincidence. So and Julian, obviously, fantastic clarinet player. So he does all the orchestral lines as well as the big smear at the beginning, and then he's added a few things like the big high note at the end, which isn't in the original piece, and but he goes up. He just forces himself to have to do this high C, which concert B flat, but it's like wee. He has to, so depending on his reed, it's like, oh my God, it's very kind of high risk sort of maneuver there.
Yeah, amazing.
But,
and so this is a team effort basically between the two of you. It's very much a collaboration of getting it together, a piece like this, I can imagine.
Yeah, I wrote it out, and then he just basically said, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. He just made it better for his part, and I just tried to make it easier for my bit. But...
Brilliant. Well, let's watch it, because this really is quite something. And for those of you out there that have seen this live, this is you do this whole thing live, don't you? This isn't like loads of overdubs and that. This is it. This is you sit down and you play the whole thing through. So here we go. Rhapsody in Blue. Yeah, how about that, folks? Give him a hand. Isn't that wonderful? Marvellous. Fantastic. And we were just having a good old chat there. So, I mean, that is a brilliant bit of music, isn't it? It really is. It's just amazing. And like as a composition, like you were saying, he really captures the feeling of like New York City, isn't it? And all the sort of excitement that goes along with that. It's a wonderful piece.
Yeah, it definitely captures that time, doesn't it? And the themes are so strong. That's why it will work as a duo for us. You can just do it on guitar and clarinet. And actually, we did have a double bass in there, if people might have noticed. Chris Dodd on double bass. We do play it as a duo, but just to get the extra sort of.
So that was a recording you made. You made that. You did record that. That's on a CD, then, is it? I didn't.
Yes.
Sorry, I missed. So how do people get that? Is that through?
I think
website?
through Julian Stringle's website. Yeah.
Okay, so
Julian Mark Stringle.
I'll put a link below again, folks. It's not on there now. I'll add it on, and so you can get that. You can get that recording. Fantastic. So wonderful. Yeah, and I mean, it is like you say. You could play that on a recorder, couldn't you? Those tunes, it still sound good. I think that's really is the sign of a great composition. So. So let's talk a little bit about how you got going, how you got started, because you studied classical guitar, is that right?
Yes, yeah, I studied
serious guitar, yeah.
Yes, I did study at University of Toronto. I did 4 years there with Ellie Kastner, and but while I was there, I think it's the nature of the instrument. Well, if you play guitar, you're always involved in other things. So I was playing in a Tower of Power group. I was studying some flamenco. I was in the big band doing the jazz thing, and so you're kind of involved in all sorts of things as well as the classical world.
So this has always been a thing, because this is one of the things that really blows me away about you and your playing, is the way you can seamlessly switch. I mean, you're quite sort of self-deprecating about it, I know, but I mean, to me, it seems like most guitarists tend to do one thing, don't they? And it's like playing jazz or playing, rock guitar on a solid body, to switch into an arch top, to play some jazz, to switch into playing a nylon string classical guitar. I mean, they're quite different instruments, aren't they? They require quite a different technique, and any one of which is a kind of lifetime's work. And we had John Etheridge on at the beginning. He was on the first show, and I mean, he in similar scenario. And I always think this is pretty amazing. There's not a lot of people that do that, but that's something you've always done. Then you've just felt like that's part of the job, I suppose, is it? I
think so. I think the guitar is quite a simple instrument, 6 strings and a plank of wood kind of thing. And but the way it's played by people across the world, it sounds so different in so many different people's hands. It's amazing. And it's an odd instrument in the sense that it's asymmetric, it's not symmetrical like the piano. And so it's got all these idiosyncrasies in its playing, in playing it. And that's why it's so difficult to write for it as a composer. Yeah. So you get all these, not a lot of people sort of understand what it can do and what it can't do, but you get invited to play in all sorts of different situations. You play, you're expected to play at the campfire, and then you play in the rock bands, and then I was always into flamenco. I loved those flamenco players, and I couldn't believe, I was like, do they play the same instrument as me? Because the things they do on it is completely different. And
you study, so you got a scholarship to study in Spain, to study flamenco music.
Actually, I did get a scholarship to go to Spain, but it was there to study classical. Right. So I had one of those road to Damascus moments. So I went there on a scholarship and to study with this guy, Jose Tomas. And when I got there, he wasn't there. So he was on tour somewhere. I mean, it's probably me that's messed it all up. So I was there and, knocking at his door. He's not here. So, and then I was sort of like thinking, do I really want to continue? The thing I love about playing is playing with other people and playing in bands and situations. And that's what I love about the jazz world and improvising and everything. So the trouble with the classical world is it's mostly a solo instrument.
Right.
So classical guitar. So that was when I sort of decided I was going to follow more of the jazz route, because I'd always sort of been doing a lot of things in parallel. And so that was from Spain. I came back to London and worked in a record shop. But I'd sort of decided the classical world was not the direction I wanted to follow, really. Of course, I love Bach still, and Julian Bream was one of my heroes. But I sort of decided it was more the jazz route that I followed from then.
Wow. And yeah, it's a good point, because I guess solo guitar recitals is quite a thing, isn't it? Of course, they do have the odd concerto, but there's only so many times you can play the
Aaron Wes.
theme tune. But it is such a different way of thinking and playing, I think, isn't it? I mean, I guess some musicians it's all just music, or is that how you see it, or do you find one thing, is there a lot of overlap, or do you find like you have to just put a completely different head on when you're doing that music to that music, or do you find like you can just? I think when I spoke to John about it, we spoke about this, and I said something like, is it like the physical thing of picking up that other guitar that you sort of slot into a different kind of mental space? Does it go with that? Because that is quite interesting, isn't it? That it is actually a different instrument that you pick up to play that type of music. It's not like a trumpet player, can play in a symphony orchestra and they can play bebop, but it's the same trumpet, right? As far as I know. I mean, I know there's different sort of slightly different kind of but they would probably do it all on the one trumpet. Whereas guitar, you pick this thing up and it's completely different instrument.
No, for sure. I mean, that's a good point. And I do feel different, the relationship with the instrument. But I think for me, because I was always interested in sort of writing music, even while I was doing the classical thing. And I almost dropped out of I got offered a jazz course and a classical course, and I didn't know which one to do.
All right.
And then, but because I could do the jazz band at the classical place, that's the route I ended up taking. But I was always interested in improvising and writing. So then I suppose that sort of kept me open to the idea of other forms of music and playing other forms of music. So I had really great classical training, but my head was always I still loved the improvising, and jazz is the natural sort of form for that. It used to be in rock bands, you could take long guitar solos and have a good, prog rock things and stuff like that. In Santana, I loved Santana and all of that. Yeah. But that's actually even gone now, really. You don't have, and then people just wanted the same solo each time. So
right, you learn the solo, of a Santana. If you do a Santana cover band, you've got to play all these solos. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Yeah. So you end up wanting to do, or having to do, basically, the same thing. So then that becomes like a classical world, you see.
I suppose. Yeah.
So that is sort of. So the jazz world was the natural place. I mean, you do improvise in flamenco, which was fantastic, but that required a whole nother level of learning to properly do it. Learn all the dances and all the singing and everything, and living in caves in Granada and all of that to really do it properly. Yeah. And but no, to me, I think it's all. What did Duke Ellington say? It's all. It's the difference. It's good music. That's that's the thing that's important.
It's all music. And of course, we're talking very broad brush general here. And Liz points out that classical guitar isn't all just solo. Of course, she says, "Come and play some solo with her." She's
very true. Yeah,
and they do improvise as well. Of course, we're being very general here. Well, look, let's play something else. So we've got. You've got this fantastic album, which I think came out, was it a couple of years ago, 2018, or was it last year? The Psyche is the album. Was that last
Yes.
year, 2018? Ish.
I'm
Somewhere
not
like that.
even sure
Recent.
where. Yes, I think it was 2018. It's psyche. It means soul. Your psyche. It
Psyche.
means soul, psyche. But it also means butterfly in Greek,
Ah.
and it's so
Hence the logo, the artwork.
that's it, because it's supposed to be like the departing soul when the caterpillar turns into the cocoon, and then the butterfly comes out and flies away. So that's like the spirit flying away.
Fantastic.
So that's, yeah.
And so this album has got a mixture of some standards and some original compositions. We're going to hear a couple of tracks, but I thought we'd play Caravan, because it's a great arrangement you've got here, and you've got a really good band together. So this album features some different lineups on the different tracks, right? And this is one of the more full lineups. We've got Digby Fairweather on the trumpet, Mick Foster, Julia Mark Stringle, Chris Gower, Derek Nash in there, Craig Milverton, Al Swanger on the
Swanger, yeah.
Swanger, and drums and percussion. Who's on there?
We've got Nick Millward on drums,
Right.
And we've got Mick Foster. You said, yeah,
It's Rowan, isn't it, on the marimba?
Rowan Kiersey Lawson,
Yes,
on marimba.
Lovely,
yeah.
Rowan.
So it's basically Digby's band, and so this is just to say that it was the idea with this was I wanted to record an album with a lot of my musical friends, but of course you wanted to get in lots of different projects. So this is Digby's band really, with a few extras, with Rowan and Mick Foster and Derek Nash added to it.
So
basically.
a proper full-on jazz party, and
Yes.
And this is a great arrangement. Is this one of yours? Was this something you arranged, or was this just something? Yeah, it's lovely. I really like it.
It's
And
supposed
this
to
is
have.
Sorry,
It's supposed to be the caravan is like all the guys out on the road when we used to go out, at the end of the night, and you see, you're driving home at 2 a.m. and you got all your gear in the back, and you
see all the other musicians on the M1.
Exactly, that's what it is.
At the service stations. Yeah, I've met a few down there. Yeah, and so this is Caravan, and from the album Psyche. Here we go. wonderful. Yeah. What a great arrangement. You really captured it there. And that feature, we should say, Mick Foster on the bass saxophone there, which is a blooming great big thing, isn't it? You said you have to put it in its own cart, don't you, I think? And
it's huge. Yeah, I had to buy him many drinks to persuade him to cart it around to the studio.
Fantastic. So, and yeah, we were saying like a fact, great groove, the 6/8 there, getting that real kind of little lilt to it, and then going into the double time swing, very effective. But you had all these little kind of duets going on, didn't you? With the bass sax and the bass clarinet, they were kind of like together. And you got the trumpet and the trombone. And then you had the drums and the percussion, and then you trading with the guitar and piano. There were all these little duets in there. Great.
Yeah, that was built like that. Yeah, it was a bit the bass, and when the bass was going with the bass saxophone, it's like walruses, isn't it? One of those.
Sounds like a Persian market or something on a sort of like high noon, with all the cacophony. So you really captured it. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Trying to get the sort of maybe a bit of the flavour of the Mingus sort of recordings.
Yes, I'm hearing that. Yeah, Charles Mingus with that kind of general, all that energy of that of a big ensemble like that, and the great bit of trumpet playing there from Digby Fairweather on the trumpet. Very lovely. Great, and so we had a few more comments in there, and Sally says hello. Hello, Sally. Nice to see you.
Hello, Sally. Lovely.
Peter again, Travis says great trumpet work, and now the cat is making a racket to go out, so I'll have to let him out. So
yeah.
This is all real, folks. It's live. It's happening.
It's all live. Yeah. I should probably say like Digby, who's basically that was Digby's band, and then with my added guests, and so I've got to thank Digby for all this sort of work that he passed to me, and Julian introduced me to Digby, and it's one of those sort of connections. So it's like just trying to get all these people on a recording, and having lots of fun. So that's what it was all about.
Definitely doing that. Yeah. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about composing, because I know you do write a lot now, but I just wondered if like that's something that you've always done. Has it always been part of? Does it feel like it goes hand in hand with playing for you? Was there a time when you kind of discovered the joy of composing, or do you feel like it's just something you need to do, like it has to come out? I know people have these different kind of feelings about writing, don't they? Or is it just this big curse that you got to like slog through with gritted teeth? I'm sure it's not. It doesn't sound like it, but
no.
Or maybe a bit of all them things, depending on which day it is.
I have always done writing. I think it was part of, like I was saying, with the guitar being a kind of strange instrument in some ways. Like you discover things on it. Like, I don't know, there's a great clip of Joni Mitchell, and she says she doesn't know what the chord is that she's playing, and she says, but you could call it something like sunlight on a still pond, right, or something. And Wayne Shorter be going, what are you playing? What chord is that? And he'll be going, what? And you're going, what scale? Oh, that. And he's like, just what she said, that she says, I don't know what chord I'm playing. And she'll just slide it up the guitar neck, and it'll have all sorts of open strings clashing, like in a flamenco, so it's just
sound,
as well.
There's pure sound,
just the sound, and then you'll get a sound,
feeling. Yeah.
So I think it came out of that, composing in that way, quite experimental, visually and by shape on the instrument. You slide chords around, and then you go, oh, I like that, and I like that, and so you discover things, and so I think that's where it all came from, and
this was from the beginning, though. This was always part of it for you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I can remember I can still remember some of the first pieces I wrote, and then I used to write them down in a book, and I put all the things I would discover on the guitar, I would write in a little book, and the title was ripped off the front, but I just wrote on it secrets. And if you ever want somebody to read something, just put secrets on the cover, because everybody's like, oh, what's that book there, And
bestseller,
yeah. So it was I just write down things like a guitar shape, a chord that I liked, a little riff, a little, I don't know. And then obviously the thing is you try and make a whole composition out of it. That's more and more difficult, is to
Right.
try and finish things off. But
Well, there's the thing with composition. There's the idea, isn't there? And then there's the craft of actually turning that idea into an actual piece that can be played and used. And it's like a bit like an invention, isn't it? People often say, "Oh, I had an invention." And I say, "No, you didn't. You had an idea." An invention is all that bloody hard work you got to do between the idea and the thing actually being made.
yes,
But you have to have both, don't you? You have to
totally.
ultimately. You need both.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a great Zoom with Mike Stern, who's a big hero of mine, the other day, and because I asked him about his compositions. I always love his tune called Chromosome and other things, when he used to play with Michael Brecker.
Yeah.
And he said, I knew he studied composition, and he said he would take a piece to his composition teacher, and he would say, and Mike Stern would say, well, yeah, I don't think it's any good. I don't know really what to do with it. I just got this little idea. And he'd say, well, yeah, finish it off, write the piece. And he'd go, well, I don't know. He goes, well, neither of us know until you finish it. Then when the composition's done, we will criticize it and we'll say, you could do this and you could go different directions. Until it's finished, like you say, it's not a composition. So you just have to finish them off.
Yeah,
And then,
that's the hard bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can chuck it out or change it or write another. But you
Do you keep sketches in this book, or do you have a drawer full of like a few ideas and things that you come back to, or do you try to just finish it off when you do it?
I keep coming back to stuff. I've got books and books now.
Yeah.
And then but the idea is that if it's strong enough, and sometimes I'll go back and I'll see a date and I'll go, oh, so here's an idea, and then I'll try and then it becomes obvious. If you get into it, you go, oh yeah, of course I should do this now.
Right.
But when you're doing it, you're just lost in it, and then you lose the thread, and then you're like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, a bit of space sometimes gives you a bit of perspective, doesn't it? Well, look, let's play a track. So this is from the same album, and actually it's a completely different feel. This is an original composition. This is one of your tunes. So, and it's called "As Night Falls, I Dance." I love that. That's lovely. That's a great title.
My daughter gave it the title, not me.
Wonderful, beautiful. What a lovely image. As night falls, I dance. Isn't that lovely? And this is this is a stripped down kind of piece, and you're playing acoustic guitar here, right?
Yeah, nylon string, and we've got Dorian Ford on piano and Lydian Dami. It's a trio that, well, not at the moment, but we called it Without Words.
Lydian Dami on bass. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, let's hear this. This is lovely. And this is from the same album. It's from Psyche from 2018. I hope you're enjoying the show. I just want to take a moment to tell you about a new way that you can help support me do this, and that is through patreon.com. That's right, I've got an account now, so the link's below here, patreon.com Buster Birch, and if you go along to there, you can now make donations by Visa credit card, so you don't have to use PayPal if you don't want to do that. And the advantage of Patreon is that once you do it once, it will automatically deduct on a per show basis. So instead of having to fill in the forms every week, if you want to make a regular donation, then that will just automatically deduct straight to your credit card each per show. And that is hugely helpful to me because it means I know that I've got a certain amount coming in every time I do a show, and that really helps me plan ahead and keeps the viable sustainability of the show going. There's 2 levels of sponsorship. There's my silver and gold membership. All of my Patreon supporters will get a big thank you personally from me live on the show, and the gold member sponsors will get an additional Spotify playlist which will be sent to you each week. It's something that I'm putting together. It's personally curated by me and will feature lots more albums by the guest artists each week. So it's a great opportunity to get to know this music much better. If you're really enjoying the show and you like the little tasters that you're hearing, that's a great way to get to know this music even more and enjoy in full comfort the full sound of the full albums. Thanks very much. Back to the show. Yes, that's right. And if you are a gold patron member, you'll be getting a copy of that album. This album, Psyche, we've been playing the tracks from, sent to you on via Spotify. In about 35 minutes, it should be popping into your inboxes. And Alison says that she loved that piece and she listened to it on repeat when she bought the CD last summer. And Mary says it's beautiful. It is a wonderful piece of music, mate. It's absolutely gorgeous. You just really sum up, and again the title is when the as night falls I dance. It's wonderful. We were gonna talk a little bit about you've got something coming up, haven't you? There's an event, an online guitar festival which you're going to be playing at next week. Is that right? A streaming festival.
That's it, yeah.
Do you want to tell us about
festival. It's a guitar festival organized by Nicholas Meyer, great guitarist, and he is streaming gigs every night from started yesterday, the 3rd, and it's going till the 12th. And I'm doing the 10th next Thursday with Dave Suttle, guitar and double bass. But there's gigs every night. There's all sorts of guitarists. So tonight is Carl Orr playing with Nicholas Meyer. You've got Nigel Price is there. You've got Hannes Riepler.
Great.
There's all sorts. Yeah.
I've got the link to that below, so that's in the description below. That's already in there. So if you want to check out that, you can hear Dominic playing live on live streaming next week. Fantastic. That would be great. I look forward to that, mate. I'll certainly tune into that. So I just thought we'd talk a little bit about another project that you've been very much involved with, which is the Latin band with Derek, Picante. Fantastic band, and you really get to feature your full-on Santana electric guitar chops in that band, and it blew me away when I first heard you play that stuff, because I'd never heard you play like that before, and I was like, crikey, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. You really, that's what I'm saying. It's such a different way of playing, a different, maybe just a different sound. It was really, really something. So Picante, yeah, wonderful band.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's a really fun band, and yeah, you get a chance to use the old dog pedal and wail away. Sometimes you can see the audience not so interested, but it's quite fun to do.
They were all up dancing when I was there. I was at the Woodman, I think, and Derek had the whole place dancing around.
That's true. Yeah,
that was great.
That was storming. Yeah, no, that was great. Yeah, it came out of because I do this writing for production music, and so they were after some tracks in the sort of Stan Getz style. So Derek Nash playing tenor sax, me playing nylon string guitar. And I've got this connection with this guy called Soho Music Productions. We sent him some tracks. He said, lovely. And then he said, can you give us, as well as the laid back Girl from Ipanema style, can you give us some more up stuff, some like Santana-ish or whatever, salsa and things like that. So we just kept writing and doing all this. And then eventually Derek said, hey, fancy playing this stuff? We could try it live. So that's just how it came about. And then we went out, and it was just a lot of fun to play it.
I remember him telling me about that when you were getting that together. He was saying, he said to me, you're going to love this when you hear this, because he knows that I love this sort of music as well. And and it's a great, wow, what a band you've got there, though. We should name check the band, shouldn't we? A fantastic lineup.
Yeah, we've got Neil Angili on piano, who is just extraordinary.
He's a monster, isn't he? Yeah. Yeah,
real Latin piano expert, and his own trios, with his Latin is fantastic. So we're so really lucky.
He really knows that music, doesn't he? He's not just a great piano player or a great jazz player that's doing some Latin. He just really breathes that music. I thought it sounded like Chucho Valdés when I heard him with your band, because I've heard him play the more jazz stuff before, but when I heard him in that setting, I was really blown away. Like the same with yourself, that you guys really play that style so perfectly.
It's so fantastic. And the other, of course, we did have Robin Jones,
lovely
in the band, and he was the man to ask, and when they're deciding on the clave, and he was the master. So we were all because the strange thing that I'm not a Latin expert, and the idea was we were mixing all sorts of styles, Brazilian with Cuban, which you wouldn't normally do in a band, you see.
You got to be careful, yeah.
So we're mixing all sorts of things. So it's very kind of commercial in that way, and it's not authentic in the sense that we mix a lot of different styles. So we're just doing it from sort of a fun angle.
Well, hang on. When you say that, you mean, just to clarify for people, because when you play the Brazilian stuff, you play the Brazilian stuff really properly, and when you play the Cuban stuff, you play it properly. But what you mean is you wouldn't normally do those two things in the same set. I think that's what you're saying, right? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
It's not that you're putting Cuban and Brazilian together in the same piece.
No, that's correct. Yeah, like that.
They're very authentic, the sound. It's just that you wouldn't normally get those things in the same on the same gig. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry, I just thought I'd better clarify that.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, so it doesn't get confusing. And the rest of the band, so sadly, Robin Jones has passed away. Satin Singh is now the percussionist, and Andy Staples on bass, rock solid. Yeah. And
Mark
sometimes
on the drums.
And Mark Cecil on kit.
Great.
And sometimes timbales, and so it's fantastic. And then if we can add a trumpet, we will add, and but it's a great fun band. It's lots of fun.
And so this tune, we're a bit confused at first because we've got it down as two titles, but there's a reason for that, isn't there? Do you want to tell them why?
Oh, so this next track was sort of inspired by Pat Metheny. I love Pat Metheny, and so we called it Missouri River. Pat Metheny's from Missouri, so we just thought it would sort of dedicate it. But of course, the production music company, that doesn't mean anything to them, Missouri River. So they called it Reflective Thoughts, I think it is. And so it's on the internet as that. And this is because of search terms, isn't it? So when people are searching for library music or for things that they can use on their projects, they tend to type in what they're looking for. So Reflective Thoughts might be a more descriptive title of the tune. So that, I can see that makes a lot of sense. But when you play it live, you call it Missouri River, right? Yes, yeah.
Right. Because it could be, I thought, oh no, I've got the wrong thing here. But okay, well, let's hear a bit of that. Fantastic. Yeah, it's great. Great band this. Here we go. Reflective Thoughts or Missouri River, depending on whichever you like. And the band is Picante. Wonderful, and that was a tune written by and featuring my guest Dominic Ashworth and the great Derek Nash there on the tenor. And yeah, we were just chatting a bit about Robin, actually, the conga player, and all the amazing people that he'd worked with. And you were saying Stan Getz he played with, and who else was it? Forgotten already.
Santana.
Worked he played with Santana.
And he worked with lots of guitarists as well. I think and he played on an Elton John record, and he couldn't even remember.
So it's just like an amazing sort of like wealth of knowledge and history and experience to bring along to a band like that when you're playing those kind of Latin things. What a great experience, and a lovely guy as well. And of course, so working with Derek, you work a lot together, I know, and close musically, and but you co-write as well. Am I right with this stuff? So you were, perhaps you could just share a little bit about the process of that.
Yeah, so we basically, I mean, Derek's got this incredible energy, so you're always struggling to keep up. But he'll say, "Well, I've got 2 tunes today," and I'll be like, "Oh, bloody hell, okay." So I better get
healthy competition.
Yeah. I better write a couple of tunes then, So then I'll come in with a couple of tunes, and then he'll go, "I like it, but I think it needs a tweak here," and then he'll maybe play one of his to me, and I'll go, "I like it, but I think we could do this," and it's an interesting one. So and most of the time I like this because it challenges me. He pushes me in a direction I probably wouldn't have gone, right. And maybe I do the same sometimes for him. Like, say, that last piece, as I was saying, is in A major, and which is a great guitar key,
but not great for saxophone.
He didn't like it really much.
No,
but I was like, no.
Yeah.
And then that's why there's the key change up to B flat at the end. Yeah. So
right, yeah. So that was a mute. What do you call it? A compromise.
This is it. Yeah.
This is
how about
wonderful.
So there's a lot of that.
It's good that, isn't it? Because I guess also it can be a lonely thing, can't it? Writing and composing and creating on your own, and it's good to get a bit of input and a bit of like nudge like that. But obviously you have to have that relationship of where you meet. There's got to be that mutual respect, hasn't there? And that kind of nice relationship where you work and get along together, and you sort of I guess trust is the word, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I trust his judgment and his sense of taste. And the only times when in fact, even on this tune, it was like, shall we change the melody? Because it's a very simple melody. And I was like, I kind of just want to keep it very basic. And we were sort of toying with the idea. And then, so we had to get Beverly Nash, his wife. And we said, which version do you prefer?
Oh, so she was the mediator.
Yeah,
I see.
as an arbitrator. Yeah.
Well, she's very tactful, isn't she? So I should imagine that was.
So she wouldn't know which was which, whether she
you
was...
did the double blind test, yes.
Yeah.
Blind
So,
test.
Yes, we would sometimes even do that. So
Fantastic. Well, look, the time's marching on, and it's been absolutely wonderful chatting to you, mate. And thank you for coming on and sharing all this great music. We're nearly done, but not quite. We've got another. We're gonna play out with a video of yours that we can talk about in a minute. But I just wanted to ask before you go a little bit about teaching and how you feel that that fits into your overall kind of view of life as a musician, and how much of a part, because that's quite a lot of the people that come on do a lot of teaching, and there's they've said that they feel that it is part of the whole thing, the whole experience. And as we know, I mean, well, you're a fantastic teacher, and I know because you teach on our summer school every year, and we get just wonderful feedback about your teaching and your approach, and you're really great at getting the best out of people, I think, and that's a skill in itself, and getting it across. But I wondered how you felt of it personally, about if it's something you've always done, you've always felt is important, or it's something you discovered later. And have you got anything you'd like to share about that?
I mean, yeah, no, thank you. I do enjoy teaching, and I always get so much out of it. I know people always say that, but it is true. And like, say on the summer school, you always get, I love the energy that comes with the students, because everybody's so keen. It's like their week of like, let's do it. And I love that energy. And the students, always ask the right questions, in the sense of they get to the nub of it. And so if there's any sort of confusion or anything in myself, they'll go, so what are you saying here? So it's really good for me to kind of have to distill things, be very clear, be very focused, and try and just keep that energy going. So for me, it's always, I get so much out of it. Doing those summer schools and the teaching at the colleges, I love it. And the students are always, I'm constantly, I find it something, it challenges me as well. So it pushes me along. Well,
it's a two-way process, isn't it? I think everybody says that. And but I think what makes a great teacher ultimately is that you care about it, and you care, and that you see it as a valuable thing to do. And I think that's what makes great teachers. And I think you've got that in spades. And to care about the students, really. And it's not, it's not just a side gig to earn a bit of cash, is it? And I don't think, like, all the teachers that I've met who I really respect and I know are great teachers, they all have that in common, that they feel it's a sharing of ideas. It's a two-way process, and they really care about the whole thing, and that it's a valuable process. It has value in itself, and I think that's really
definitely
really great. Yeah. Well, thanks. So, I kind of knew you felt you were of that persuasion. I just wanted to sort of get that out there, I guess, really.
No, thanks. And I just got to say, it's great. Like the summer course, the Cardiff, I've really enjoyed working on that. Great group of students, and great atmosphere.
You took over from Dave, didn't you? Dave Cliff, who'd done it for many years, and I knew you'd be a great fit. You slotted just right in, and you've always just done just done exactly what was required, and it's never been any trouble, and it's just been great having you on the team. I've really, so thanks for all that you bring to that. So I thought, we'll just I'll just say for next week's show, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the wonderful Nia Lynn, who's a great singer and songwriter, and done some very interesting music again. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. She's a great personality, and got a lot to say about music, and a lot of energy, and she does all our warm ups and things. And she's an expert in movement and she coaches your vocal coach for the Royal Shakespeare Company, and great, like I say, great songwriter as well. So we'll look forward to that next week with Neil in. But so that just leaves me to say thank you very much to everybody for tuning in, and thank you, Dominic, for coming along and sharing your music with us. It's been really lovely.
Thank you, Buster. Thank you for inviting me. Thanks for all your hard work and getting all this going. Yeah, fantastic.
Well, it's worth it when we can just sit and chat and talk about music. I love it. So we're going to finish off with this video that you made, and it's a record. It's solo guitar. You've overdubbed. There's just like multi-tracked. Is it of yourself?
There is, yeah.
And the tune is James, which is a great Pat Metheny tune, isn't it? Written for James Taylor.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And Pat Metheny is obviously one of your influences for many. I mean, I think there's probably not a guitarist on the planet who hasn't been influenced by him at some point.
Yeah.
And
for sure. Yeah, and there's got a sort of, you can hear a sort of country element in this. I was very lucky to meet him twice. And Richard Niles invited me backstage to meet him as well. I met him once on the street before one of his gigs, but then I met him backstage, and his incredible energy. And he just wanted to talk about the concert, and asking Richard Niles, say, "What did you think of this composition? What did you think of the middle eight there? Did that work?" And it was like incredible detail after he'd done this solo gig for like 2 hours or whatever it was. Yeah,
really, so, and just still like really. Yeah, getting into the...
So detailed, yeah. So such an inspiring player. His compositions, his playing, everything. Such an inspiring musician.
And prolific. I mean, incredible output. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, how many people have got their own real book? I mean, it's amazing, isn't it?
Incredible. Yeah, and so many great compositions. I think I saw him first, when I was at college, probably about 1978, something like that.
Wow, yeah.
79.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's still turning out, and the quality is always there, isn't it? So, well, and there's something special about this video, though, isn't it? So you made this as a tribute to a friend of yours.
Yes, Chris Johnson, a fantastic musician, keyboard player, and he passed away. And I just wanted to do something to remember him. I played in his band called Johnny Astro, and we used to play this tune together. He introduced me to this tune, first of all, when we used to play. So it's sort of in memory of Chris.
Fantastic. And we have to mention the wonderful photography by... now I'm going to screw this up. This is awkward. This spelling. Svilen Semenov. Is that right?
Simonov, I think. Yeah.
Svilen
Simonov.
Now Bulgarian. I looked him up because I thought, all right, there's apparently a famous conductor by the same name, which is.
I didn't know this.
Right. And I was reading about this. I'm going to check this out. And apparently he conducted an orchestra with both his arms broken, and. I was thinking, this is an interesting story. But it's not the same guy. This is someone else with the same name, a very unusual name. So this is your cleaner's brother or something, is that right?
Yes, so he goes around Europe. He's from Bulgaria, and he goes around Europe with his girlfriend and their little dog, and he takes all these fantastic
and they're
photos.
Amazing
incredible
pictures.
Photos, I think. So, and it's quite funny because one of the last ones has got like a spire, and it's got almost like Johnny Astro. Anyway, it was just all coincidental, but
together.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, we'll leave you with this, folks. So thanks again, Dominic. It's been a real pleasure. Thanks, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And don't forget to check the links below, and check out Dominic's live stream next week if you get this in time. Take care. We'll leave you this. See you next week. Cheerio.
Thank you, everyone. Lots of love.
week.